All right, man. 5 best running shoes of 2024. So I already have my list set, but there's one shoe that I keep snubbing, according to some people, and one shoe that I actually really loved throughout the entirety of this year, but I ended up having to send it away because it didn't fit right. So I'm going to give it one more shot this morning. It is Sunday. It's the day for the long run. What is it? Sunday, December 29th. This is going to be the last new shoe that I test this year. It's a new shoe, but it's an old shoe. It is the Hoka Mach 6 LA. This is called the LA version. And take a look at this. So you guys know I love those white colorways, but this is how we're going to be coming all 2025. Black is hot now. Black is back in fashion. So this is the Hoka Mach 6 Murder Pack, all blacked out so we can remember the times when it was dark. And guess what? I have the black joggers on, black slides, black socks. You already know I have the black Supwell hat on and black hobby jogger hat. I meant black Supwell shirt. So we're going to get our long run in this. It's funny because I never actually did a long run in the Hoka Mach 6 when I did have it. This is an 11.5. Look at this. Where's the box? Yeah, look at this. That's crazy. I'm a 10.5 and everything. I tried on the size 11 yesterday in the store, so I bought this at Dick's. I tried on the size 11 in the store, and I said, man, this is way too snug. So we'll see how this 11.5 fits. I'll throw it on the scale really quickly, do a quick overview here, and then we can take it out for some miles. I just want to make sure I'm doing my due diligence before I put out this 5 best list because this was a shoe that I loved. And at $140, great value right up there with the Nova Blast of the world. So this is full supercritical EVA foam here, similar compound to what's in the Bondi. That Bondi is a max cushion version of this. I called that Bondi the BBL Mach 6. So this is the South Beach Bondi, I guess you could call it. I guess this is the LA Bondi because they said the LA right on the side. It does say Mach 6 on the back. I really like this all black colorway. By the way, my guy Steve Chang on the Supwell app, he's the pioneer. He's the pioneer of going back to black. He posted on the Supwell app, hey, black is coming back in 2025. And I'm on board with it. But guess what? Black was never out of fashion over here. I've been going murdered out hobby jogger swag all year. But yeah, this thing comes in lightweight. It's a daily trainer, competes with the SL2, Nova Blast 4, Nova Blast 4, Nova Blast 5. What else does it compete with? Even Brooks Hyperion 2. It is on the softer side compared to some of those shoes, similar to the SL2. I personally found that it wasn't the most protective compared to other shoes in the category. And you can see up at the forefoot here, you do get some good stacks. So it's a 6mm drop, 37 in the back, 31 in the front, but not as much protection as a max cushion shoe like the Bondi or the Gel Nimbus. But with that, on the other side, you're going to have a lighter weight, more streamlined ride. So let's throw this on the scale, see how much it weighs in. The other thing is with the sizing, man, having to get this a full size up, that's pretty crazy. And I almost wanted to eliminate it from contention entirely for this 5 best category, but it was so good and so much value at $140 that I don't want to do that. And I do want to do my due diligence here and close it out with a 20-mile long run in this because I know for a lot of people, this was their shoe of the year. I liked it. I loved it at the beginning of the year, and I want to do a good job here of not sleeping on shoes and punishing them just because they were released in the beginning of the year. So Hoka Mach 6 LA version is black and is better than ever. Man, it is pretty soaked out here. So we're going to have to weigh on top of the shoebox. All right, so Hoka's QA has not been the best this year. They've been one of the brands that has the most variance between their shoes. So let's start it off with a good old QA check. Let's see, left shoe coming in here, 257 grams. Again, this is a size 11.5. I don't actually know how this is going to fit me, but the size 11 with thicker socks that I typically wear in the winter, smart wool socks, the size 11 was way too snug. So I knew that was not going to work. And it's not the length, it's the toe box up at the front is very shallow. And man, I've tested, I don't know, it will be in the title here how many shoes I've tested this year. Over 100, and I haven't had Actually, that's not true. I've had one other pair of shoes fit as poorly as this, and it was the Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris. Even those, that was fine, though, for a 30-minute run. It was once I got further along into the run. I sent off my 10.5 in this to someone who was a size 10. Even he said, dude, how the heck did you run in these? Because they're completely crushing my feet as well. So in some of the colorways and sizes, these are running a full size small. So it's just wild. All right, that was the right shoe, 257. This is the left shoe coming in at 256. All right, nice job, Hoka, with the QA on this pair. Skyward X, I think the QA, or no, Cielo X on there is 15 grams difference, but looks like they've dialed it in on the Murder Pack Mach 6 here. Let's compare that to one of the big competitors here, Asics Nova Blast 5. This comes in at 271.5 or 272 grams. So the thing is, this has a taller stack of foam. You also get more foam in the back. It's a wider base than the Mach 6 for additional stability. Let's see if we can compare these two side by side. Overall, more structure and support in the heel of the Nova Blast 5 versus the Mach 6. But man, I remember the Mach 6 being fun and bouncy just like the Nova Blast 5, and the Nova Blast 5, I said this feels like a sturdier Mach 6. So we'll see how that comparison has held up today. And by the way, look at this monochromatic. Maybe monochromatic is just the new thing for 2025, not necessarily black. But I like the Murder Pack monochrome, so we can remember the days when it was dark. Adidas Adizero SL2. This guy's coming in 254 grams. So in the correct size here, these are almost identical in weight, and I'm trying to see if I can do a length comparison with them both up. So these are both touching the bottom of the ground here, or the top of the box, and it looks like the length is similar. I'll see once I got this on foot, but I do think a full size up, at least for me, and it's crazy because I know not everyone did that, but for me, that's what we need here. And again, I've tested 100 plus shoes this year, and there's no other shoes where I've needed to go a full size up, and only one other shoe where I needed to go a half size up. So it really is off in the Mach 6. Let's draw on two other Hoka shoes, neither of which I had to do any sizing shenanigans. This is the Skyflow, size 10.5. This is their standard daily trainer, 294 grams. This did not make my list of best daily trainers. There's some other that took its spot. If I made a list of 10 best daily trainers, or maybe even 7 best daily trainers, this would have been on it. This and the 1080 were just right on the cusp, right outside. Some others took its place, but this is just a really solid shoe. Disappears on foot. On the firmer side for sure, which was surprising because the Mach 6 is lively, soft, bouncy, fun. And when the Bondi 9 came along recently, I realized, okay, this is why. So the Skyflow is a slightly firmer version of Supercritical EVA. The Bondi is that more comfort cruising version. I like both of these shoes. Bondi leans comfort, Skyflow leans speed. Two awesome options from Hoka. So let me throw the Bondi on. This is the best shoe right now, or one of the best shoes out there for just time on feet, walking around, disappears on foot type of shoe. This is on the heavier side, 331.5 grams. So now you can see the difference across these categories. Standard daily trainers like the Nova Blast 5 or Skyflow are around 270 to 300. True max cushion shoes are around 320 to 330, and then these lightweight speed training shoes in my size are below 260 grams. So Mach 6 is competitive. I remember this version of foam being comfortable, fun, bouncy on the softer side, and bada boom, bada bang, very similar version to what we have here in the Bondi 9, which I've been loving. So I'm excited to test out for one last long run of the year here. These Mach 6, I'm going to lace these up. So plan for today. It is beautifully gray and rainy. This is a North Carolina winter day for you. I know some people think they think of the southeast of the U.S. as this warm or even hot place. But man, it gets so rainy. I once looked up the number of rainy days we have per year versus the Pacific Northwest, and it was really close. It was only maybe 8 days per year off. This is one of the rainiest places, and I'm telling you, December, January, February is going to look like this 60% of the time. But guess what? Rain or no rain, mileage. So I did not try on this exact pair in the store. I only tried on the size 11, and it felt too snug. I actually was walking up to the register, and I said, I'm going to take these size 11, and then I walked back and said, nah, that I do not want to get a shoe that's going to crush my foot, especially because this is the Murder Pack version, and I want to be able to wear these casually. So I do have some room in here. Let's see, I probably have more room in this than I typically would in a shoe, but I'm not getting crushed. So I had to go a full size up to not get crushed. The size 11 was very shallow. Again, not the length, it's just the shallowness and an aggressive taper. The Skyflow has the aggressive taper up at the end too, but it's not as shallow. And it's probably something with the material on this Mach 6. So this is a shoe where, and thankfully they sell it in Dick's and they'll sell it in probably every local running store near you. This is a shoe you need to get it on foot if you're considering it, because you might need to go a full size up. And again, I preach just always get the same size, because 99% of the time it's going to work. And literally, dude, I tested it this year. I've done over 100 shoes, and they're all size 10.5, except for these. 99% of the time, getting your normal size will work. These are the 1%, or less than 1%, where that doesn't work. But these fit me solid. I don't actually have that much more room up at the front. I'm just blown away. I'm blown away that I need to get 11.5 to have these actually fit right. But walk test here. That's legit chicken poop. That's disgusting. Yeah, so nice lightweight, super nice rocker. Hoka's been crushing it this year. They had the best rockers in the game this year. Foam doesn't feel anything special walking. I remember it livens up running. This wouldn't be my pick for a walking shoe from Hoka. I would definitely go Bandai over this. And it does have more of that Skyflow toe box. So even in the 11.5, this still does feel narrow for me. I don't have many upper complaints on shoes. I have a pretty standard fitting foot. I think my left foot is slightly wider. Matter of fact, I know my left foot is slightly wider. But this is one that you're really going to want to get this on foot to get the fit right. I barely even talk about fit and feel in my reviews. Most of the time I say this is fine, because 99% of the time it is fine. This one is a touch narrower. The upper will probably stretch out. But, man, I love the way these look in this Murder Pack right here. And, by the way, it's not triple black. It's carbon. You have this carbon gray, a steel, on the midsole, on the Supercritical EVA. It's a sick look. I really like this. And they did the logo delete, or the word delete. Did you notice that? They didn't say Hoka, because on the standard version, it says Hoka right here. They did the badge delete, and they just have the bird. It's pretty sick, bro. So remind me of when it was dark times. All right, I'm gonna go. This video is like the second half of the Meek Mill song. You thought I was done testing shoes. Nah, bro. Hold up, wait a minute. Y'all thought I was finished. Had to get one more shot up on him. At half court. This is like chucking up the last second half court. Buzzer beater. Bang. Let me tell you a secret, bro. People don't even know where Bang came from. That's a Mike Breen original. That's a Mike Breen deep cut. And then we just brought it into Hobby Jogger Nation. All right, I'm going to get these miles in. I'm not taking the GoPro. Don't worry, I'm not taking the GoPro. I'm just going to go out, bang this 20, and we can come back and get into the list. Let's do it. Man, that was absolutely brutal. I'm glad I didn't bring the camera. Or maybe it would have been better if I brought the camera, but top 5 worst long run of 2024. 20 miles, 1800s, 7:52 pace, 2 hours and 38 minutes. Bro, that was a complete sufferfest. I got caught in a rainstorm at mile 6. From mile 6 to 12, I was just getting attacked by rain. I actually think there was hail at some point, and I had taken my shirt off because it was so wet. Let's take a look at this. Let's see how much. Yeah. I took my shirt off because it was so wet, and I was using it to protect myself from the storm. But that wasn't even the worst part. I just completely faded. And here's the thing. 2 years ago, man, I would have been beating myself up about this run, saying I'm a terrible runner. I lost all my fitness. This is blah, blah, blah. No, this is what I've learned. And it's so hard. For me personally, it was so hard to learn this. But hey, if you're going to run 20-mile long runs every weekend or do a long run every weekend, there's 52 weekends out of the year. Remember the bell curve from high school math class? Stats, the bell curve like this, the normal distribution. About 35 of those long runs are going to be fine. 5 to 10 are going to be terrible, and 5 to 10 are going to be awesome. So, and I can count on one hand the number of terrible, bad long runs I've had like this. I remember my last week of school this year, I was completely underfueled up there because they just didn't have a lot of stuff I could eat. And then I tried to do a marathon pace workout in the Alpha Fly. Similar result as today, throwing down 8-minute, 50-second, 9-minute miles at the end. Remember this summer, my foot was killing me for some reason. Tried to do 20 in the Tempest, felt terrible. Had another one like that. I think it was the other foot over the summer in the Cloud Eclipse. I haven't had the Saucony Endorphin Pro 4. I did a 20-mile long run very similar to this during the Chicago block where I just completely faded. Those are the ones I can remember. Four really bad long runs, and a lot of great long runs. Who you calling small in the Cloud Boom Strike? Just complete shenanigans, running around Mint Hill, ripping 5:56-minute pace. So it's numbers, man. It's math. You can't cheat it. The more you run, the more bad runs you'll have, but you'll also reduce the chance of having a bad run. If you do 3 20-mile long runs, it's a lot higher chance that those long runs are going to be bad because your body's not used to it. So we got it done. I also didn't bring any gels today because I didn't have any. I could have made some Tailwind, but I basically just set myself up for failure. But you know what? We got it done. That's a 20-mile long run dang near every week this year, except for before and after my marathons. This run also reminded me, running is supposed to be fun. If every run was like this, I would not run as much as I do. But the good thing is it's not. Every run is not like this, and I rarely have runs like this. I can count on one hand, and I don't have runs like this if I'm only going 10 miles. But size of the shoe was fine. It was perfect. Size 11.5. But guess what? It's not about the size of the shoe in the fight. It's about the size of the fight in the shoe. Alright, man, I was doing these holiday break one takes. This is not a one take. This is I don't know, I guess this part could be a one take, but we're gonna stitch together multiple clips at this point. I'm standing in muddy water in my Nova Blast Force. That's like a country song. Standing in muddy water in my Nova Blast Force. I don't know what I'm doing when I walk through the door. Let's throw up the run for today. 20 miles in the Hoka Mach 6 Murder Pack edition. That was one of the worst long runs of this year. Great reminder. Fueling is key. Now, I don't think that run was terrible. If you look at my splits, I was right around 720, 730 for the first 8, and then I completely dropped. And it's not a guarantee that I'll have a bad run when I don't fuel, just like it's not a guarantee that I'll have a great run, a great long run when I fuel. But the chances are, and it's all about probability, man. Training and running, if you're doing structured training in a way to hit a certain goal, is all about probability. The chances of having a bad run are significantly higher when we don't fuel. Like if we don't get, I like 7 average hours of sleep for most working adults. That's a reasonable target. If we don't get consistent 7 hours worth of sleep, if we're not fueling for our runs before, during, and after, if we're super stressed. These are all things that increase the chances of us having terrible runs. And of course, I did that event last weekend, 2.5 hour run, 100 laps around my friend's house. There's so many factors that can lead into having occasional duds, and this is the entire point of training. We want to get our volume up so that when we have these occasional duds, it's just a part of the greater mix, and there's no way to avoid bad runs, but we can do the right things, like taking some gosh dang fuel with us, planning ahead to make sure that we have the right gels so that these things don't happen, or the chances of them happening are a lot lower. But they have to happen. There's no way to avoid having bad runs. But with that being said, Mach 6, this had nothing to do with the terrible run. This is a comfortable shoe, a smooth shoe, amazingly light for the amount of stack you get, and the protection is amazingly good for how lightweight it is. 260 grams. It feels almost like a Max Cushion Gang shoe. It's not. It does have more streamlined feel, a touch more flexibility in the forefoot, and some suggestions of ground feel up here. And man, look at the man, all black shoes for the days when we were bussing tables at Cobblestone's restaurant in Lowell, Massachusetts. A lot of these boys don't know anything about working a minimum wage job. What do you boys know about working for tips? You can tell a lot by a person by whether or not they've ever had a job in retail or a restaurant. Let me tell you right now, if you ever had a job, I guarantee you people leaving negative comments on videos have never worked at a restaurant or at an Abercrombie & Fitch. And that might be a good life lesson. If you're out here angry online, typing negativity, go get a job at the mall. Go get a job at Dunkin' Donuts. Go get a job at your local mom and pop trattoria. These birds have something to say today, and I have something to say today. For the times when it was dark. Yeah, this is a great shoe. It is not going to make my list, but I am going to give it an honorable mention because of the value. This $140 category is so packed. You have the Nova Blast 4 and Nova Blast 5 now, two awesome shoes. I'm standing in the Nova Blast 4 right now just because this is what was by the door in my office and I'm not running in them anymore. Nova Blast 4 at $140 are now actually at $110. One of the best long run shoes out there, one of the best deals. But guess what? This is not the best deals video. And this is something I want to say. This video and these shoes that I'm about to show you is not a best deals video. This is not a best flexible, low stack daily trainers video. Guess what, bro? I made that. This is also not a best daily trainers video. These are the 5 shoes that are the best of the best, that are the most fun, the most comfortable, the most protective, that have the best technology out there. These are the cream of the crop. And the Hoka Mach 6 is not that, and it's also not designed to be that. But it is a great value, but nothing in this category is actually cracking my list here. None of these $140 shoes, because they're not designed to be the best of the best. They're designed to be great value. So a great value shoe, very similar to the Asics Nova Blast 5. I'm going to have to do a head-to-head between them because, man, even with all of the releases that came out this year, and I'm glad that I'm closing it out with some miles in this, even with all those releases, Neo Zen, Nova Blast, SL2, this is still a complete banger. One of the best rockers in the game. The supercritical EVA foam is beautifully soft and bouncy without bottoming out. There's no bottoming out at all in that run, and it was not a shoe that I was angry at even throwing 9-minute miles in. There's some shoes where I started throwing 9-minute miles, and this only happens, again, a handful of times this year. We talked about the bell curve, right, from high school stats class. Most of your runs are going to be just fine. Some are going to be awesome. Some are going to be horrible. Today was a horrible run. This is not a shoe that I was angry throwing 9-minute miles in. You had a horrible run. You could run great runs in it. You could run horrible runs in it. I actually did run some of my best workouts before Coast Guard Marathon, which is my first marathon this year, it was my first official marathon this year. I was throwing down some 5:30 or 5:40 pace in the shoe. So very versatile shoe, one of the top 5 most versatile shoes. Again, this list is not top 5 most versatile shoes for $140. This list is 5 best, biggest bangers out there. And this is a banger for the money, but not as good as everything else. And I always have to give this disclaimer or caveat. You don't need to spend $200 for a shoe, but guess what? This is the best of list. So we're talking, what did Kendrick say? It's the Ben Frank murderer. This is the Ben Frank murderer list. These shoes are bans because they're the best. And oftentimes, this is the last thing I'll say before I get into this list, and I know people are like, just tell us the shoes. You can skip ahead if you want to, but I'm giving out free game. I think so often we get annoyed at these brands for pricing these shoes high, but we don't have to buy high-priced shoes. We can buy this shoe. We could buy the Asics Nova Blast 4 that I'm wearing right now for $100 with my Running Warehouse discount code. There's lots of great value price options, but all of the shoes up at $200 this year, I have found to be awesome. And whether or not they're worth it is up for you. Value is in the wallet of the purchaser, but for me, these are the ones that I enjoy running in, and I have spent a lot of money and tested a lot of shoes this year. So with that, let us get into the core list. Let's go from least expensive to most expensive. One more thing before we get into the video. I'm about to edit. I'm sitting in my bedroom because my mom is here and they're in my office. Sign up for the Supple app if you haven't, because we are doing a free Daily Trainer giveaway. All you have to do is find the post that says Daily Trainer giveaway, follow the instructions, put your best training memory from 2024 and your training goals for 2025. And we have the best running shoe deals on the marketplace and lots of deals and discounts that people post, and the best community to help you reach your goals, help hold you accountable. Second thing, if you're going to buy any of these shoes, make sure to use my Running Warehouse link, because that helps support the channel. All right, let's get into it. Starting with bada boom, bada banger. It's the big boy, hailing from Germany. I guess you shouldn't say hailing from Germany, but from Germany, the Puma Mag Max. This thing is a tank. Now, $180, this is actually the cheapest of the 5 shoes that I'm talking about today. And this one is also the closest to being a normal shoe out of all of them. This is an amped up Daily Trainer. This is the shoe that reminds me of a Nike Vomero 17 on steroids, or an Asics Nova Blast 4 on steroids. It has all of those qualities that I seek in a mileage building shoe: comfort, stability, protection, with some bounce and versatility. But everything is just dialed up to the max. I actually did not like this out of the box. I thought it was too much foam. I thought the ride experience was over the top, but as I put more miles in it, the foam got its true character and it became one of my favorites. It's one of the last shoes that I got up to 100 miles, and guess what? Even once I got it to 100 miles and did the 100-mile review, I didn't stop testing it. I'm still pouring miles on this guy. I might even run this tomorrow. It's just that good. This is definitely going to be in my rotation, and like a lot of the Puma shoes and the Adidas shoes, Adidas is another brand that does this, these shoes just get better with miles. This thing is gonna go $400, $500 for sure. So for $180, this is actually not a bad deal, because it's gonna go forever. And if you like stack and you like cushion, there's very few runs that you can't use this for. You can use it for your aerobic long runs, your relaxed long runs. You can use it for recovery runs. You could use it for daily runs. The one place where I'm not gonna use this is for speed workouts. Next shoe that I highlight here, that's going to be the speed workout shoe. That's the best of the best when it comes to speed workouts. But for everything else, this is great. And look at this. It has the Puma grip. So all these shoes here have very few flaws. The Mag Max is one of them. It is a shoe that has a lot of stack, but very little wrong with it. It still manages to feel kind of normal, even at this almost 50 millimeter stack height. So Puma Mag Max, one of the best shoes out there. I did not put this on my Daily Trainer list because with those shoes, I wanted to have more versatility in my definition of a Daily Trainer. Again, not every shoe is for everything. Not every list is going to have everything. The Daily Trainers are the one shoe that I could take for vacation. But guess what? We're talking best of the best here. I don't need to have just one shoe. I could have 5 shoes. That's why it's the 5 best list. So Puma Mag Max, one that also is these Super Max shoes, I just throw them in the Super Max stack category because you can't put them in traditional boxes. It's not a Daily Trainer and it's not a Max Cushion recovery shoe. I also didn't put this on my 5 Max Cushions list because that Max Cushion list was the most comfortable shoes, because a lot of the time when I'm reaching for Max Cushion, I want just pure comfort. This doesn't beat the Glycerin Max. This doesn't even beat the Nimbus when it comes to pure comfort, but it does beat those shoes when it comes to leg saving capability, bounce, and being able to go long, do long miles with protection. This is actually what I pulled for. So I had a few, I'll talk about this more in tomorrow's video probably, but I had a few times this year where I was super beat up. I wouldn't necessarily call it an injury, but super beat up. Mag Max is one of the shoes that I pulled for that saved my behind in those instances. So a great shoe. No shoe can prevent injury, but the high drop of this, which is one of the downsides of the shoe, the high drop did save me because I had some calf soreness, and this took the burden completely off my calf in a way that the Adidas shoes or New Balance shoes, the Rebel, the Balos, the Evo SL, those shoes cannot. So there is a place in rotation for high drop shoes, just like there's a place in rotation for lower stack shoes. So bada boom, bada bang, $180. Puma Mag Max, by the way, I called this my Super Blast, and then we gosh dang sold Running Warehouse out of them. You know what we call that? We call that pull. Boys got me talking today. Number 2, hailing from Southern California. This is the biggest dark horse on the list. We got the Hoka Mach X2, $190. Now, this is the shoe that completely swung my opinion on this entire category. I was super down on this plated trainer category, and I don't run in these shoes all that often. I don't like these shoes all that much because for the most part, look at a shoe like the Brooks Hyperion Max 2, which is the other one, probably my second favorite in the category behind this. But that is, if you look at the construction, a worse version of the race shoe. Now, I know people don't like the race shoe, but I'm just talking about the materials. It has a heavier upper. The upper on it actually is really great, but same foam, just with a plastic plate instead of a carbon fiber plate. Same thing with the Saucony Endorphin Speed. Worse upper on it. Something with the foam and the Speed I think is worse than the Pro, and then plastic plate instead of a carbon fiber plate. And for me, I'm running a lot of my speed workouts. So my last marathon pace was 6:04. I ran a 2:39. So if I'm doing a speed workout, it's either going to be a tempo run at marathon pace or a mechanical development speed workout where I'm in the 5s. So at those paces and being 6'2", 155, 160 pounds, I can put some decent force into shoes, and a lot of the speed training shoes just cannot stand up to what I prefer. They just feel too mushy. They bottom out, and Hyperion Max was one of the shoes that did not. This was the other one that did not, and this just has more fun to it. All my favorite shoes are fun. All my favorite shoes are fun. This has fun from the top layer of race foam. This PIBA here is awesome. You still do get some stability, and again, all my favorite shoes are stable. That's what all these shoes share. They're gonna be stable, protective, and fun. It's not fun for me to be squishing, slipping, and sliding everywhere. I like having a secure platform because I run a lot of miles. I wanna feel well protected, and I want the shoe to be bouncy and give me some joie de vivre. The joie de vivre, right? So this does have the plastic plate, but what I like about this shoe is it's not a worse version of the Cielo X1 or the Rocket X2. It's a different shoe. You have a different upper than's on the Cielo X1 or Rocket X2, but an awesome fitting upper. I know some people had the issues with the heel thing. I'm not gonna get into that. There's a lot of princess in the P type activity and princess in the PIBA. A lot of princess in the PIBA type boys out there complaining about a gosh dang upper. Put some miles in. Yeah, I didn't have any issues with the upper. And this top layer of foam is great. One of the best race foams out there. And I think it's different than what's in the Mach X2, probably similar to what's in the Skyward X, but very versatile shoe. This was so I did my 5 most versatile shoes under $200. This came in at the top of that list, $190. You could use this for any type of runs. I did 5:20 pace workouts in it, and I did 10-minute miles. I've talked about this before with the kids in the stroller in it. This is one of those shoes where if I'm going on a trip, 100%, I could take this. Now, it's not a daily trainer. It's not going to be the most comfortable. It is not going to be the most comfortable compared to something like the Hoka Bandai or the Brooks Glycerin, but for what it is, very comfortable shoe and very few compromises. It's a very few compromises with this shoe, and I know I'm joking about the upper issue. Some people do have an upper issue with it. I did not. They're also going to fix that in the next version, but just talking about the midsole and the ride experience beyond outside of that, very few compromises in it. You can go slow, you can go fast, lots of speed assistance without being too aggressive, not too heavy, but it's not so light and soft that I feel that I'm bottoming out. This is one of the 2 speed training shoes that I feel 100% confident throwing down full force. This and the Hyperion Max 2. If I'm doing a 22-mile marathon pace workout, 10 miles at marathon pace, no question. And I had to pick a speed training shoe instead of a race shoe, no question. I'm going for this. This is the best non-carbon plated shoe out there for my style of training, marathon training. So best marathon training shoe of the year, Hoka Mach X2. All right, moving on up, middle, 200 pounds. You already know what it is, looking like a nice juicy Omaha steak. Bang, look at that stack. Medium rare, Glizzy Max DNA tuned. Now I talked about this in the 5 most comfortable shoes list. This is a comfort banger, and a lot of the time I just want comfort. If I'm not pushing the pace, this is my whole theory and the training by vibes that I talk about. If I'm not pushing the pace on a fitness developing workout or a specific pace maintenance workout, I just want to be comfortable, especially for my everyday runs, and this knocks it out of the park. Nice rocker here, so much protection, zero ground feel, comfortable upper. One of the most comfortable shoes of the year. I'm gonna have to put this up with the Gel Nimbus 27, but man, this is just a joy to run in for those everyday miles. It took everything that I loved about the last generation max cushion shoes like the Nimbus 25, the 1080, Nike Invincible type of shoes, and just amped it up to the max. Yes, it's heavy, but so is the Mag Max. So a lot of shoes are heavy. I don't mind it at all. This is the best bigger runner cruising shoe, recovery run shoe. I haven't done a 20-mile long run test in it because why would I? It's not designed to do that. And again, this is not the 5 most versatile shoes list. This is the 5 best shoes list. All these shoes are killer at one thing. This is a killer comfort shoe. Brooks Glycerin Max. I've talked about this shoe so much. I don't even have that much more to say about it, but if you want the most comfortable shoe in the game, this thing will not let you down. It also does fit roomier, which is nice for me. I prefer a roomier fit versus a super snug fit. It fits well in my 10.5. The grip is also fantastic. That's something that I haven't talked about a lot, actually. This grip is up there with the Puma shoes and the Adidas shoes. So overall, a complete banger. Glizzy Max. All right, last 2 shoes coming in at $225. We got another one. You guys are not going to be surprised, but you might, because I haven't talked about this shoe a lot, but it's still one of the best shoes out there. Hoka Skyward X. Another shoe that I have not highlighted on any of these other roundups that I've been doing over the past few weeks because you can't categorize it. It's not a comfortable max cushion shoe. It didn't make that top 5 most comfortable list. And somebody actually asked me, why isn't it on the max cushion list? It's not a comfortable shoe. It's not uncomfortable, but it's not as comfortable as any of those shoes. It's not as comfortable as the Nimbus. I would even take the Mag Max over this for comfort. I would take the Glycerin Max over this. It's not really a daily trainer. I wouldn't want this to be my one shoe if I were going on a trip, and that was my criteria for the daily trainer list. There's no way I would be going on a week-long trip with all sorts of runs and just be taking the Skyward X. But this is one of my highest mileage shoes this year. Another one that I have past 100 that I've just loved to run in. I have not had a bad run in this shoe. Every single run I do, it puts a smile on my face. This is the most fun shoe of the year. Now, compared to the Mach X2, Mach X2 is more streamlined. This is the one that I'll take for true workouts. Skyward X is the one I'll take when I don't want a daily trainer, when I want to have something that pushes me along. That's a ton of fun. Similar to how people use the Adidas Prime X Strong 2 and OG. It's just a fun shoe to run in. So ton of protection here. Construction is you get a carbon fiber plate in the middle with 2 awesome foams. So top layer is that race foam I was ranting about from the Mach X2. Bottom layer of foam is the supercritical EVA that I was ranting about from the Mach 6. So it combines technology from all of Hoka's best shoes. Upper, nothing wrong with it. Fits well. It is on the more comfort oriented side, so not super lightweight shoe. Nice wide base, stability is good, and it just pushes me along. So where I would choose this is, say, my typical run distance during the week is 10 to 12 miles. That's what I'll usually 10 miles is what I'll run in the morning, then I'll do 6 to 8 in the afternoon. If I don't know what to run in and I just want something fun, this is the one that I will choose. And everybody should have just a fun shoe in their lineup. Now, downside of this shoe, I don't even know if I would call it a downside, but who might not like this shoe? Lighter runners. I've had a lot of people tell me it feels firm to them, firmer than they were expecting, and it's not fun. that means you're not putting down the force. And when I'm not going below 740 pace, I can see that. Where I've enjoyed this most is around 715 pace miles to 640 miles. So on the faster end of my everyday range. Not a recovery shoe, not a long run shoe. It's a fun daily shoe where you want to go out, push the pace, not a true workout. Just go out, push the pace, enjoy yourself, and have a lot of protection. So $225. Skyward X, most fun shoe of the year. I absolutely love this thing. If I could only take 2 or 3 shoes to an island, this would make the list for sure. This would 100% make the list. All right, last shoe here, coming in at, depending on what colorway you get, anywhere from $285 to $320. The new Murdered Out Murder Pack version of this is $320. I already did the long intro yesterday on the race shoe video. You already know. It's the Demon Time Alphafly 3. This is my highest mileage race shoe of the year. If I could only pick one race shoe out of all the ones I tested this year, it would be the Alphafly 3, and this is what I kept reaching for my biggest workouts. It was this and the Cloudboom Strike, and this edged out the Cloudboom Strike at the end just by a hair. It has that je ne sais quoi. It has that character to it. And if I'm not going super max stack comfort, if I'm not going streamlined daily miles, if I'm really wanting to get the best out of myself, this is the shoe that I was continually reaching for. Now, it's held up really well past 100 miles. The ride is fun. Yes, it's aggressive, but that's what it's designed to do. Again, this is not the top 5 most versatile list. This is the best of the best, and Nike has created the best of the best race shoe in the Alphafly 3. I put it at the top of my list yesterday, and like I was saying earlier in this video, I don't love doing a lot of my workouts in the speed training shoes. The Hoka Mach X2 changed my mind on that a little bit, but I still prefer going to Carbon County, getting that real aggressive Demon Time character that you get from a shoe like the Alphafly 3. The great thing about this as well is that when you're putting down power, it's not going to bottom out. It feels very robust and substantial. I actually thought it was too firm and mechanical. I had this crunchy feeling at first, but I grew to love it over time. And what before read to me as too firm and aggressive, as I became a stronger runner throughout the year, became helpful. And as I was doing long 25-mile days, I did in this shoe, as I was doing long runs with 10 miles at a 6 flat marathon pace, this is the shoe that I was continuously relying on. This felt like my most reliable training partner for speed, and the one that I would just want to reach for. So if I could only pick one shoe to run fast in for 2025, it would be this. This is the best shoe for running fast, the best shoe for getting the most out of yourself in training. I talked about this yesterday. I decided to race Chicago in the Endorphin Elite because it felt less distracting, and I didn't want a shoe that was going to force me to run any faster. I wanted to run within myself. I didn't want to risk going out too hard, and I knew the Endorphin Elite was the more reliable choice for that. But for training, and for some people for racing, if you don't mind having the same race shoe as everyone else at a major, this is going to be great. So Nike Alphafly 3 race shoe of the year. So there you go. That's the top 5 list. Lots of good shoes out there. Puma Mag Max. This is the daily shoe. Let's see. Glycerin, or no. Mach X2, speed training, Glizzy Max, comfort, Skyward X, fun, and Alphafly race. You might ask, where's the low stack flexible shoe? This ain't the Barefoot Mafia channel, bro. Also, I made the top 5 no frills daily trainer list, so go ahead and check that out. I made, how many lists did I do this year? Probably, gosh dang, 30 lists. So sorry not sorry if I snubbed your shoe. Sorry not sorry there's no Asics on here. Nova Blast 5 is great. I don't know, I probably hurt a lot of feelings with this one. Thought I was taking it easy because it was holiday break one take. Nah, I'm back in that mode. 2025, I already told you, new year, same you. We're not changing anything up. It's gonna be the same number of miles, the same consistency, putting up 20s every weekend. I'm not changing. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.